everyone see it's recording? Yeah. All right. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our alumni night tonight. This is our last session this year. And tonight is the session on business and economics. And we already have with us 4 amazing alumni to join us tonight. And they're all alumni from the Faculty of Business and Economics as well. I will share to you the agenda for tonight. Yep. So first up will be James from ISE to explain with us about what international student engagement is and how they can help us international students to cope with the student life in Monash. So go ahead, James.
Pardon me. Thank you, Jeslyn. I'll just share my screen with you now, and I'll let you all know what we do over at International Student Engagement. All right. Well, firstly, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm James from the International Student Engagement team. I'm one of their 2 student casuals. Now, look, before I begin, I'll just do a very brief acknowledgement of country. I know some of you are likely overseas, but for those of you in Melbourne, including me, I'd just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the people of the Kulin Nations on whose land we're gathered today. And I wish to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So who are we? Why do we do what we do, and where can you find us? So as I said, I'm one of the student casuals on their team. We have a really great team that is normally based at Clayton campus. We're part of the Student Success and Transformation Division of Monash Connect. And if you do ever need to contact us, you can reach us at our email, iss@monash.edu, or you can call us on our number on the screen. Now, I'll copy this into the chat later if you do need to reach out to us, but I'll come back to that a bit later. So what do we do? We are a free, confidential, welcoming, and inclusive service. Basically, what we mainly do is we work on case management and we run programs for international students. So if you need any support with your physical and mental health, or if you just need a friendly voice to talk to, you're always welcome to reach out to us. Our team does a lot of case management with some rather difficult cases too. So we're here for you no matter what you might be going through. We also run programs for our international students. We have quite a few general ones, which I'll just very briefly run through in a moment, but we do offer some more specific programs for our under 18 cohort, our humanitarian scholarship holders, and students with families. So usually that's mostly PhD students. We offer networking events, pregnancy and health sessions, and social events as well, just to curb isolation. So our main events and activities, we normally run pre-commencement and orientation programs. That includes our really successful Conquer Your Classes and Guide to Uni seminars. We normally have around at least 500 attendees per semester, which is quite impressive considering the situation and all of us being online at the moment. We also have our Life in Melbourne sessions, as well as our monthly student newsletters. And normally when we're allowed to meet in person, we'd have our like days out, and we have coffee with a cop as well. And usually we also have visa information sessions. I'll have a little bit more to say on that in a moment, as well as sessions for our final semester students, which for some of you might be highly relevant. I can see that obviously you're here tonight for our alumni night, and we do sometimes run sessions for final semester students as well. So one thing I've been working on in a big way is the Monash Global Ambassador Program. So we have a group of volunteers. Most are international, but we have a few domestic students as well who help us with running our events and pretty much our day-to-day operations too. So it's open to all students. It's a great opportunity to get involved and to develop some career-ready skills. I would highly recommend it for anyone here who might be in their early years and would like to have something to add to their resume. I've been working very closely with the ambassadors, and it's been really nice to see them grow and develop as individuals. And again, if you are in the early to mid stages of your degree, I would highly recommend joining. we'll probably have more to say on that in November. So please do keep an eye out. We'll be posting more information across our channels fairly soon. We also work with a few other organizations within Monash, including MRS. So as an international student, you have access to the MRS off-campus services for 3 months after you complete your studies. And their contact details are there if you need to get in touch with them. But essentially, they can provide you with advice on what to do next accommodation-wise. Of course, it is graduating university is a pretty big step, and even if you are still studying and will still be studying next year, they can give you plenty of help and advice as well. We also have an online finishing uni guide. So some of you might be in your final semester. If you scan the QR code there, you can access our finishing uni guide, where you can find more information on graduation, tips on like moving out if you do have to find a new place to live, or maybe you're moving interstate or returning home. There's some advice on that as well. Of course, as well as staying in Australia. I know some of you might wish to find work here once you graduate. Alternatively, you may be considering further study. We also have information and advice there, as well as some advice on career planning too. So it's a very useful resource. I would encourage all of you to check it out in your spare time. If you need me to share a link a bit later in the session, though, I'm more than happy to do so. So graduation and visa advice. Now, this is a tricky one because technically, as a team, we can't really provide specific visa advice. We don't have any qualified migration agents on our team. But as I mentioned before, we do run numerous visa information sessions throughout the year. I believe our next one will be in November. So if you do need visa advice, I would encourage you to come along to any one of our sessions. You'll have an opportunity to chat with a migration agent, and they can help you out with whatever you need. Now, obviously, apart from that, if you need a proof of completion letter, or if you need any kind of enrollment verification, you can go through Monash Connect as well. As I said before, we are technically a part of Monash Connect. So we'll go through to us and we can help you a bit with that as well. Last but not least, we also work with Career Connect, and this is a very invaluable resource that I would encourage all of you to use. They're Monash's in-house career consultants. They offer 20-minute appointments, which they call DigiChat online career consultations. Perhaps some of you have used it before, but if not, I would highly recommend it. They can help you with interview skills, answering KSCs, and how to write a resume and a cover letter. Really invaluable skills. I've actually used it myself for job applications. I don't regret it for a second. So if you do need someone to talk to about career advice, or if you want to develop those skills for applying for work, it's an invaluable resource. I really would highly recommend that you make use of them, whether you're in your first or your final semester. Well, that's all from me. Thank you for listening. And if you do ever need to get in contact with us, you can reach us by email. I'll paste our email into the chat. Alternatively, I'll be around until the end of the session. So if you happen to have any questions for me or for the team, I'm happy to help however I can. Thank you again, and I'll pass it back to you now, Jesslyn.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, James. We definitely cannot thank you enough for your service from ISE, which has been a huge help for us, and to MUISS as well, which we have been a partner for so long, and definitely cannot thank you enough for your help and service for international students. And moving on with our alumni night agenda tonight, we have with us alumni from the Business and Economics faculty. We have with us Darren, Ashley, and Edward. And we also have Ellie, though, however, she is unable to join with us tonight because she has a flight to catch. But fortunately, she has already sent us a video of her presentation to share her story for being a student in Monash, and also how she got into a job today. And let's hear her story. Okay.
me to this amazing alumni night. Unfortunately, I will be on airplane at the same time as the events kicks off, so I won't really be here in person. I hope this particular video will find you guys well. So back to this presentation. I'm Ellie, currently working as a privacy and program manager in ByteDance. If you haven't heard of the company ByteDance, you probably know of TikTok. So ByteDance is a mother company of TikTok. Yeah, so I'm currently in Beijing. I've graduated from Monash Clayton campus back in 2013 with a Bachelor of Commerce specified in economics and finance. So that's who I am. So I will just go a quick short, snapshot of my journey. So once I graduated, my first job was working as a salesperson in an Australian firm, where I did regional sales, or you call it key account manager, while I was working for this particular firm. And then afterwards, in 2016, so 3 years later, I moved back to China and started working as a sales support person in Rubber Bosch Automotive. So those are the times that I was working as a sales. From there onwards, I started switching my focus to become more program managing, and to an area that's where I am now. So I also had another 2 jobs, one as a headhunter in Hudson, and another one is as a sales person in Apple retail, online retail. So that's who I am. Then in 2019, I started my new career as a privacy program manager in ByteDance, and that's where 3 years later, that's who I am right now. So yeah, so I guess, just based on my particular journey, there's something I would like to share with you guys is just always be open to new things and always be ready for new opportunities, regardless what it is. Because you will never know what's, your future is really long. You have like so long, years to go on for. So just, stay open to things that's, not really, don't be restricted with where you are, and don't be restricted with what you are working on right now. So there are a few of the questions or a few of the things that I would like to address. The first one will be, what are some of the challenges you face as an international fresh graduate when you were first entered into the workforce? I guess for me, there was the fear of no feedback on my job applications. And that fear was actually became the reality. At the very beginning, there was no single feedback or response from all my applications. So I started asking myself, what's going on and what's wrong with me. So that really got me doubting about myself. But then, like later on, right? Like while I was working for Hudson as a recruiter, or we call it headhunter, I learned what my mistake was, and I wish if I had the time to go back to that moment, I'd probably do something different. And here are the 3 things that will be different if if I got a chance to do it again. So the first one, I would say, learn the job description and ask yourself what kind of person would best succeed in the job. Be your own HR and step yourself into the HR's shoe. Think from their perspective. Then I would say, read your resume as if you are the boss, or if you never know the person. I will emphasize on the part that you never know the person. So read your resume as if you never know you. Does this resume really, representing who you are? Does this resume says enough to picture or to outline the draw of who you are? And that's a question you ask yourself. And the third one would be ask yourself, what's so unique about you? Or ask your friends, your family, what made you special? And another thing is can this job make you shine? Probably some of the time that this job it's just not for somebody like you, which is totally fine. I mean, there's thousands of jobs, millions of jobs, and there's you are the unique person. You need to find something that cheers you as you, and also some of the jobs that really can make your shining points show. So that's something that it's a mutual selection. You're selecting them, they're selecting you. So think from this more, broader angle when you're approaching to, looking for a job when you're submitting your applications. Okay, so the second question will be like looking back to your past experiences as a student in Monash University. Did you have any, moments that led you to become the person that you are today? I guess, my experience will be like participate lots of school activities and social events. I'm not really an extrovert person, but like when it comes to activity and social events, you gotta think differently, First of all, don't be shy. Like nobody's awkward, like because you are in the university, you are in a school, and that's the time people making mistakes and people show themselves. And that's the time that we get the opportunities to meet all kinds of people and to facing all kinds of diverse cultures and perspectives, and everything is different, everything is new, and that's the time that you need to embrace yourself and into this atmosphere and just trust yourself. You are the great person, you are a special person, and also join lots of activities not only widen your horizon but also allows you to know more people, and those gonna be really really valuable for you in the future. And most importantly, it's a chance to learn how to deal with different people before you enter workforce. Like once you enter into the workforce, you're gonna meet whether like difficult people that's not really easygoing, people that loves like work politics, all kinds. And if you are a sales, you might really met really difficult customers to handle. And what you do, if you have already met some of those while you were in the university, it's the best time for you to exercise how do you respond, how do you deal with them. So, be active, join as many activities and social events as possible while you're in the university. Okay, again, and then the third thing I would like to share is, if you were going back in time when you were a student in Monash, what would you tell yourself? I guess I would just tell myself, get an internship or a temporary campus role that's really relevant to your career. So, the first bullet point summarizes everything. Take part-time jobs and internships wisely. I got some of my classmates in the past, and also myself as well, that we were working so hard, putting so much time on schoolwork. Even like for any single particular time, we'll probably, taking that time to get a part-time job, earn some money, cash pockets, pocket monies and stuff. But like, those are things that really sometimes divert you from your road, from your direction. Don't do that. Like, don't waste your things on things. Don't waste your time on things that can't provide you unique experiences or can't really go on your resume. Just making sure that you choose your internship and part-time jobs wisely. There are lots of internships and part-time jobs, so making sure you go look for them and don't be lazy. I guess the very last advice I would like to give everyone here is, be more active and be more proactive to social. So this is a question on like why social is so important, when it is so time consuming. Like, why don't I just spend more time on study? Why do I need to go join activities, right? Well, I guess like, there are so many things that if we can't really learn from textbooks, we can't really learn from the people that are around us. We need to probably meet more and more people, to learn the things that we don't even aware of. So I guess this is the best opportunity to learn new things. And then it's also time that, to connect the dots. Also find your lifelong friends and become more and more innovative and adaptable once you go into the society. So yeah, that's all from my side. I guess this very particular last point is on like, given this pandemic situation, what are some of the things that you can do or you should do to keep up? I guess I'll just say embrace the moments Keep your faith, belief, and persistence, open to changes, and keep an innovative mind. Keep looking for opportunities in this era of uncertainty and ambiguity. And most importantly, stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, that is from Ellie. I really resonate a lot with what she has to say because, like, currently I'm also quite really wanting to get active, and I hope everyone here is feeling that way as well. To really get active and grab as much experience as you can, because it's really useful in the future. And so, next up with our panel is Darren. The mic is yours, Darren, to tell us your story.
All right, thanks, Jaslyn. Right here, I will just share screen. I didn't prepare much of a slide. I'll just show you the LinkedIn, and at least you can see it from here. So, hi everyone. My name is Darren. I did a Bachelor of Actuarial Science in Monash 2015-2018. So I graduated 3 years ago, long time, pre-COVID. And in that, I think during the time in uni, I was very lucky because we have a lot of activities. Unlike right now, it's a very different situation. So at the time, I actually joined a lot of sports on campus, which exactly what Ellie said, really got the exposure. And through sports is where I met some friends, and which led me to my first internship, by the way, which is in Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. That's how I really didn't think about it much that time, but somehow connected to someone who works there, who actually plays squash as well. So we had the same common topic, and then he's like, "Hey, do you want to come in over?" And that was really an advantage, especially for international students like me, that we don't have, the connections when we go to Australia, and somehow we need to find a common topic with someone who's already working, and that's how I got myself into the door. And I've worked there even after I graduated in mid of 2018. I worked in Mercedes until early 2019, and then I quit my job for a bit. For around 8 months, I went on to play professional squash for 8 months. Then I think I hit the over ranking of 144, and then probably not for me because other people are like kicking my ass. So I might want to censor that part there. So I need to sort of think about the future career. And during that time, although I was just focusing on the squash career, I actually read a lot, still continuing using the sport to leverage and to know other people in the field. There's a lot of working adults in every clubs in Melbourne, so I use that as a gateway for common topic to stride in. And then got myself a job in Canberra. So Canberra is a family office. They manage private wealth for other clients. Superannuation. So right now they also manage that part. So it's quite a huge firm, small firm which are huge fund, and I've been working there ever since. I'm actually right now in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So I'm working remotely for the company in Australia. This is quite a unique one. Thank God for the internet, actually, that I can actually do this. Otherwise, it would be very limited to the content and the location itself. So let's say most international students, after they go back, after they graduate, they need to go back to your country, wherever you are from. And visa is always an issue because employer probably will not hire someone with 1 year, maybe 2 years visa, who may eventually move back to their home country. So it's a risk at that standpoint. So what I did during my time after I graduated when working here was that the same question was people kept asking me or all my friends who got a job in Australia is, how did you guys get a job as an international student? So it's quite and what we found was everyone had a unique path. Mine was through sports, and other people was through part-time job, which knew someone and knew someone. Someone was working as a secretary for free for a CEO, which then landed her a job after that. There's a lot of unique ways to do it. And what I did then was we actually came up with this book right here. It's the website is down, but it's on Amazon. But those who want it for free, you can actually just LinkedIn me, which gives you an incentive to text me. Reach out. So those who reach out, I will give you a free copy. And inside here, there's a section where we interview all 13 international students who got a job in PwC, BCG, the Big Four firms, in the investment firm, so and Google as well, and Amazon, and on Australia. And they're all international students with same advantages as you guys. No extra advantages, no PR, whatnot. So what we found out, or what I found out over time interviewing them and learning their story, was that everyone is, of course, the first one is everyone's journey is different, but the second one is really they did something very different from everyone in uni. They actually do not place their main focus on their grades. Surprisingly enough, I know grades are important, GPA is important, but they do not actually focus on it a lot. They spend most of their time doing fun things, like things that you will not think about, not like networking or go to some gala and stuff. They actually just want to have fun. Hey, let's do something cool this weekend. And that's how they create their opportunity, because cool people do weird stuff, and then that's how they connect with other people, and then they would then see the opportunity there. I know one friend who got his job at Accenture by speaking to a Grab driver, an Uber driver. And that's how, because the Uber driver knew someone who worked at Accenture. I think it was his son-in-law or someone, and then that's how they referred, and then he got he got his job there, which is quite weird. And all these weird opportunities that comes up, it's never, I wouldn't say never, but it's almost never through those traditional way of the pop-up career stand where you go and inquire about it. I think Monash has a few. And I know a lot of people who got their jobs there as well. But from my close friends and those who I know who get a job, they almost never get it from those traditional way, because there are a lot of people applying it as well, as much as you want it as badly. So yep, that's the one we are working on. So text me and I'll give you a free copy. And back to this career, I would say that pandemic is very, like right now, it's very different in the last 2 years. Whatever I probably can give advice is probably not relevant. Right, what I did in uni back then is definitely not relevant today, because you will not have the opportunity to meet people anymore, as sad as it sounds. So what I would say is that so other than this, I actually have another side business other than the full-time job. And through this pandemic, what I've learned is there's never a stable job for anyone, and there's never such a thing called career planning. In my opinion, I may be wrong. It's because things change so fast that you can't possibly stick to a job for 10 years and then hope for it to last forever. Most things actually change quite quickly, especially in our lifetime, in our generation. Things really change so quick, and things what makes sense for our parents don't really make sense for us anymore, and I can't really relate to them. Sometimes study hard, get good grades, get a good stable job, probably not going to work this time round, when everything is so different, different landscape. But what I can say is the most important part from anyone who got a job in uni at my time, and even time during the pandemic, is really connection. Not so much networking, not like I connect this further in LinkedIn, or I follow him on Instagram, or he follows me back on Instagram, not that kind, but the kind that they will actually call you out for drinks. Like those kind of relationship that you need to amend. And one tip I can share with you guys is always find a common topic and common ground to start off with. Not common as in, we play a certain sport, or we play sports help, or we read a certain book, or in the same industry, but an insider language that he understand. Yeah, both of you understand. I think there's one book that talks about it very well. I'm not sure who here plays squash or heard of squash before, but non-squash player probably will not know what a boast is. Right? If you play squash, you know what the boast is. Okay, and that is insider language between me and the person who plays squash. So then instantly you have that connection right there. And how you get that connection is you need to really explore things outside of uni, outside of studies, do a lot of weird stuff, so that when you go to an event, you can talk about those weird stuff. About how you go to Bali one time for a meditation retreat, but you end up sleeping and snoring, and then you got kicked out. That's not my story, that's someone else's story, but that actually caught the attention of that particular person that night, which then led him to the first interview. So these are the things that I find that really, really helps catching the attention of the other person in outside of the traditional ways. So I think that's all for me. I will not take too much of your time. I will pass back to Jesslyn. And if you guys just want a copy of the book, can just LinkedIn me and I'll send it over.
Thank you so much, Darren. Definitely would take the book, please. And I actually can agree that COVID and this time of the world with pandemic and stuff, the internet has actually limitless possibilities for us to actually grab a lot of opportunities to either jobs maybe, or even friends, maybe small friends around the internet somewhere is also a good type of networking. And next up, we have Ashley with us to also share her story and her career path, share some tips and tricks with us, undergraduate students. Please, Ashley. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaslyn. Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen. Let's see. Share. Okay, can everybody see my screen? You see my beautiful face sitting on there?
Yes, very
Yeah,
beautiful.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll just get started. I'm Ashley. I'm currently situated in Singapore and I graduated from Monash, the Caulfield campus in 2019. So I believe I was the December graduation and I majored in marketing, and I'm currently working as a full-time marketing communications executive at a Singaporean data analytics company. So it's been quite interesting for me. If you told me in 2019 this is what I'll be doing, like doing marketing at a data analytics company, I'm like, I don't think so, probably not. So I will just share. I will share my advice as I go along the journey of my time at uni. So as I mentioned earlier, I graduated in 2019, but there was also a lot that happened before then. Like my uni journey, I would say, wasn't very smooth. I think I had a hard time adjusting to living abroad and living outside my home country for quite a while. So all the social activities and networking activities, I really didn't participate in much. And I wish I knew of the international student engagement community from James at the time, but I didn't. I didn't really participate in much outside of just going to classes, and staying in my room. So that was really my first and second year. And why I'm bringing that up is to encourage anyone who feels like, hey, like I'm almost gonna graduate, I'm not doing enough, like, is it too late to do something? It's not, because I would say sometime towards the end of my second year, something clicked in me to just, decided like things are not gonna come to you. Like you have to go out and find the friends that you want to have and do the activities that you want to do. So it was a period of discomfort, but I forced myself to, attend group classes. So I made friends while going to yoga classes at the gym, and then from there, I made other friends who introduced me to their great friends. So I think my uni life or my social life really only picked up in my third year. And then I think in third year, I was even the head of marketing at the campus dance club. So it's called Monash Modern Jazz. I did marketing there, and I think that was in year one. If you told year one me that would be something I've been doing in year three, I wouldn't believe you. But I've actually used the experience to land myself some internships in my final year. So in my final year, I started interning at a Melbourne tech startup called Mr. Yum. So when I joined, it was quite small. I think there were like 15 people, but now it's 2 years later, and QR codes are a thing now thanks to the pandemic. I believe Mr. Yum is like a QR code that you see, a virtual menu that you can see at different locations in hospitality venues all over Australia now. So it's grown quite a bit, but at the time it was quite small, and I just went for an interview with them through a friend that was already interning with them. So I just said, like, give me a chance, this is something I want to do. And I went in there, I brought up my dance club marketing experience. I just shared I've been doing, and I was very upfront with like just what I could offer them, and I felt like I was hired, and then I really enjoyed my internship, and when I was done with my internship, they offered me a full-time job to stay on and work in the company. But at the time, I think this was end of 2019, I had already decided, I think I want to move back to Singapore after my degree. So I didn't take on that job, and I moved back in 2020. So I moved back beginning of 2020. So what I want to say in regards to like while I was still a student, like in the chapter while I was still a student, I don't think it was ever like a big step that I took that really changed my career path or changed the prospects of the things I did. It was more of like small things that brought me to places that I would never have anticipated. Like I really stumbled into the job at the Melbourne tech company, and I think so. If you see on my timeline here, in 2020, my marketing intern with this data company, in my hiring interview. In my hiring interview, I just spent the entire interview talking about what I did at this Melbourne tech startup, and even though at the time, it was an opportunity that I just stumbled into, I feel like the experience gave me enough confidence to feel like, hey, I can apply to these jobs. I have the experience, or even gave me better social skills. I was able to gain confidence while speaking to people, and believe in myself and carry myself with a bit more confidence, knowing like, hey, you're capable of these things, you can do it. Even though it was scary, and even till today, I still feel nervous and scared when approaching these things. But I think all these experiences do add up and give us confidence. So this internship lasted for about 6 months, and in this internship, I accomplished so many big projects I didn't think were possible at the time. And then early this year, 2021, I was promoted to a marketing communications executive at the company. So yeah, that's where I'm currently working. And so the quote that I want to leave with our attendees today is that is alluding to something I said earlier, which is your life isn't about a big break. It's about taking one significant life transforming step at a time. So like all these small steps really do add up, and all these people that I spoke to along the way, fun sidebar, like a small sidebar is, even through returning to Singapore last year, I had some ex-colleagues from the Melbourne startup reach out to me through LinkedIn, to say like, hey, Ashley, you have this experience with worked with you before. Do you want to join us at this other company? So for a period there, I was doing remote work for them, and this, like Darren had said earlier, this wouldn't have been possible without the internet, or like if I hadn't taken the chance to speak to them, if I hadn't come out of my shell to like speak to them, they would never have known like these skills that I have, so I also want to preface that in 2018, 2019, I would never call myself an extrovert. I don't think I would call myself an extrovert today, but it's really slowly gaining confidence in yourself through these small steps that you take, to help yourself to grow and to trust yourself that you're going to find these opportunities that are going to come your way. So another piece of advice that I would like to share, and I think it's important to share, is to not be hard on yourself if you don't get a job at like those at a big company. And I mean, it's amazing if you get a job at the big company, but also if you don't, the small steps that you take along the way, who knows, where it's going to take you in a year or two, or if you're not too excited about this new opportunity that's in your way, I think what this journey has really taught me is that there's only so much that we can anticipate and can predict. And a lot of it is really, circumstances, opportunities, where the business is, where the market is, where the economy is. So yeah, trust yourself and take and say yes to things that maybe perhaps in the past you would not have said yes to. So I think it's gotten me this far. So yeah, I think that's what I those are the two main messages I wanted to cover today. Thank you. I will take any questions in the box later on.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any one of you guys, if you also have any questions, you can just pop it up in the chat and we will answer it in the end of our session. And it's
From your presentation, honestly, I really do think that gaining some experience is also really great. Even though you're like a last year student, even like Kate right now, she's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
assignments, but then she's still really active to want to take part in a lot of activities. Right, Kate? Even though you're busy, you still have time to join us tonight. Really, thank you.
I think even if you're very busy in year 3 or like the final year, I would say realistically, by year 3 is probably when you've gained the confidence, okay, I have this capability, I can do this, I've learned these things, I can use these skills at these jobs. So that's probably a great time to, if your schedule allows, of course, it's really a great time to make use of those skills that you've gained after these years of uni.
Yeah, and sometimes challenges are scary and you don't know what you're gonna do, how you're gonna find energy for it, time. But apparently, if you just do them, you like find motivation to do them. You never know, like these things can change you, your life, your perspective on different things, your mood.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be afraid to take steps, even if they're smaller steps. Just take them. Yeah.
Yes. A favorite motto of mine is baby steps. Like you don't have to big change, take new job, quit your job, whatever. Even if it's a small step to like, okay, today I'm gonna spend 1 hour to do something for myself. Then it's a small change already.
Awesome.
Yeah. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Yes, Jaslyn.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ashley. So next up is Edward. So Edward can tell the story. The mic is yours.
Alrighty. First of all, I would just like to express my gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for having me in this. Thank you to Monash University International Student Society for having us. As speakers, and I said that we've got quite wonderful speakers, and I believe hopefully with this. With these events, we could help you in terms of giving you a bit of insights regarding what's the world out there like. I'm just confirming. Can everyone see my screen or?
Yes.
Okay. All good.
Yes.
Alrighty. Yep. I'll just start probably just a little bit about me. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business from Monash University, majoring in international business and marketing in late 2019. I am now currently working in Melbourne as the head of marketing and communications and a part of the executive team in an energy company. So basically I'm just here to share some of my experience that might help you guys out. Just straight up insights on common issues that international students or even local students can face. So I'll just start with my career journey. So I've been building my own business in the past before entering university. So if you can see right there, it's in 2015, 2017, I've pretty much run my own photography and social media business back in my home country. And early in 2018, I'll say hello to Melbourne, basically landed. And then I landed my first corporate job ever since, basically. So the good thing, one thing that I've never, ever regretted I'm doing is basically I did have the chance to explore and learn new things right after I graduated high school. So I've been building my skills since then. Now, one common issue in Australia and probably everywhere in the world is if you realize, like, most companies are looking for candidates or hires with experience. Now, this is the problem. This is what I call the death loop. So, okay, so let me ask you a question. How are you able to get experience without a company or without people giving you the opportunity to gain that experience at the first place? Can everybody understand where I'm going with this? This is the gap that we need to feel. Especially if we're in Australia. Like, you can't get a proper job. You can't even get a proper entry-level job without having previous experience, without having past work experience. So now this is, this is the kind of stuff that graduates or even university students need to realize before they enter into the job market, because this is something that could strike a lot of people and can slow people down basically. So in this regard and in this context, the point that I'm trying to make is, if you're able to gain some skills on your own, making your own portfolio and looking for internships, and even though looking for internships is quite hard these times, that will act as a very strong stepping stone for you to move forward in your career. So okay, so just based on my case study, right? Just using me as an example, I moved to Melbourne early 2018. I landed my first corporate job in Melbourne, and to be completely honest, I actually didn't have any issues entering the workforce. So thank God, I was pretty fortunate that I was able to land my first job pretty quickly and easily. Now, what I realized now is that the skills and the portfolio that I've built over the past 3 years back in my home country before entering the job market here in Australia had helped me significantly, basically. So when I enter the job market, I've got things to say in my resume. I've got facts and figures. I've got work samples to back me up in all of these hiring process. So then my first 2 roles in Melbourne were both in an agency environment, where I had to learn lots of different industries, including automotive, software as a service, finance, personal services, education, retail, fashion, e-commerce, and all these different industries. I have the massive opportunity to be able to learn all of these different industries, and that gave me the ability to be agile, to move to whatever industry that is on demand. So what I'm trying to say here is I think having a head start is important. Now I'm not saying that I disagree, with people who might not have the opportunity to start earlier. But what I'm trying to say is, if you have to start today. Anything that you want to do, you have to start today without any delay, because delay will actually cost you money. It will actually cost you time. It will actually cost your future. I'm not scaring anybody here, but that's the brutal reality. That's the harsh truth that I have to learn. This past few years, basically. And then from there, I moved into a management role quite quickly. I had the opportunity to manage my own team. After that, I started to make quite a few jumps, by entering the contracting market. Basically, the contracting market is moving fast in a temporary 3 to 6 months work period. Usually doing big projects, and then finally, I'm basically where I am today in an executive level, basically. So what I'm trying to say, here, without taking too much of everybody's time, is building your skills early in the game is very crucial. Like, I can't stress that enough, because that's what people are looking. Even though you're starting your own business, I think you need capital. You definitely need capital, but you also need the skills. If you only have money and you don't have the skills, you're going to go bankrupt. If you only have the skills but you don't have the money, you can actually still pitch to investors, to venture capitalists and all that sort of stuff. And that is why I'm here to say, skills, building up your skills early on, degree related, or something that you like is very crucial. Now, I'd like to discuss one very, I would say, interesting and important topic as well. Is about balancing uni and career life, balancing uni and your business life or your work life. Jana Kingsford say, balance is not something that you find; it's actually something that you create. Now, based on my several years of experience now, I've pretty much formulated that, and this is my personal opinion basically, but I've pretty much formulated a way on how do I balance stuff, how do I balance my uni work, and how do I balance my corporate job when I was studying and working at the same time. Now, the first thing that I asked myself is to actually discover, what do I want? What's my end goal? And from there, I was asking myself, what's my end goal? My end goal into entering a university, into studying in Monash University, is so I can get experience, and second, so I can land a good job. And then moving forward, I would definitely want to open my own business. Now that's my path. That's my ideal path. And I was thinking, how do I do that? How do I do that? I need to focus on the right thing. I need to think forward. I need to move forward. I need to think, what's my goal, and reverse engineer from there. So if my goal is to land a corporate job here in Australia, and while doing my studies, or after finishing my studies, what should I do? Now that's the first thing. That's the first thing that I'll think of. The second thing is I'll engage with myself. I'll engage with myself. What can I do? What skills do I have at the moment? What have I got in my bank? What do I have in my brain? What do I have? What are the tools that I have at the moment in order to actually make something? I'll engage with myself. After engaging with yourselves also means finding your passion, finding your true self, finding what you really like to do and what you really want to do. It is the second stage of discovering yourself. But in here, I'm also aware that not everybody has the privilege, and not everybody has the opportunity to actually discover themselves earlier on. But that's okay. That's okay. This is all the process. And then from there, I learned that finding a good inner circle, or finding a good group of friends that actually can support you, I think that's very crucial to its balance. What I mean by balance here is, sometimes when you tend to study too much and you don't focus on the right thing, you actually lose. So you don't actually win by studying more. You actually win by focusing on something that's right. Now, this is what most people got wrong, because they think study, and study. If I'm studying, and if I'm getting 4 HDs in my report, I'm going to land a good job. Now, that's correct if you want to be a doctor. That's correct if you want to be a pilot. That's correct if you want to be an engineer or something like that. But if you are, if you are in the business and economic space, like, to be honest, grade doesn't really matter. I've been into more than 150 interviews, and I think only 4 of them actually asked my GPA. None of them care. What they care is your skills, your experience, how much money can you bring to the table. That's what they care. That's what they care about. So after you engage with yourself, you assess your risk. This is the part of risk management. What's your, if you were to allocate your time fully to studying, what's your opportunity cost? Like, I like to look at this as a level, where the middle is a fulcrum, it's as a level. If you study too much, what are you actually sacrificing? Are you sacrificing your work? Are you sacrificing your experience? Or what are you actually sacrificing? Now, this comes to every individual. Like, I couldn't say what your sacrifices are, but you can sit down and you can assess yourself. And if I were to study today and fully focus on studying, will I have the work experience that I need to build my career life? Will I have that? Or if I work, if I work part-time, too much, will I have, can I succeed in my uni? Now, that's the balance that you need to create. That's the balance that you need to find, that you need to be comfortable at, you need to be happy. Where in my case, I'm aiming for an HD, definitely. But if I can't get an HD, if I if I get a D or even a C, a credit, but I am actually, I actually excel in the outside world, in my career world. Now that's a good opportunity cost for me. That's worth it for me. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to sacrifice my grade, getting a credit, so that I can excel in my career life. That's my risk. That's the risk that I'm willing to take, basically. The fourth step is, after I assess those risks, I know, okay, then I'll make my decision. I'll focus and I'll accelerate. I'll do what I can do best. Then I'll grow very quickly. You can go very quickly from there. And then after that, final, and this is not final, because this is a loop. This is a loop. You can't never stop this, because you might be discovering something new every day with your life. You might want to try something new every day in your life. So this is not a one-off thing. This is a looping thing. And then at the last point, you reflect, okay, what mistakes did I make? Am I happy with this lifestyle? Am I happy with these choices that I make? Am I happy, taking all of this risk into so I can move forward with my career? Or the other way around, am I willing, to take the risk of not finding work experience and excel in my uni? But what's going to happen after I graduate? I'm not sure. Now, those are the things that you need to reflect on, basically. So that's how I see, that's how I see balance. That's how I see, the approach to taking things, if you want to excel in your career very quickly, this is, my sort of approach to things. And I'm okay. Sorry, I'm taking too much. It's taking too long. Okay, this is my last slide, basically. Now I'm just showing just a bit of career progression, just an ideal one. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. So in college, if we were to position ourselves back in college, or back in high school, or whatever it is, I would, if me myself, I would try to get a hospitality or retail job. Get a part-time job that's easy. You don't need to think. Just get a part-time job to seek experience and of course a little bit of money. You can't say no to money. And during your second year, that's when you start to seek internships. Land your penultimate year degree-related internship. Whether it's paid or it's unpaid, that's okay. That's okay. And then during your third year, you might want to scale up to a paid internship, or you might actually want to land your first corporate job. This third year is a serious moment. It's a serious time frame where you seek experience and have your stepping stone to land your first corporate job. Now, ideally speaking, and how I see this is, when you graduate, ideally you would already be securing a full-time job, graduate position, graduate program, whatever it is, entry-level corporate job. As long as you've got that urgency that is implanted within you, and then you understand, okay, I have to move fast. But again, everybody has their own timelines. I'm not saying that this is the way to go, but I'm saying, think about it. Think about, if you were to go down this path, how would you feel and what would you do? So it's just a matter of reflecting, basically. And one of the strong tip that I could give you actually, if you're still studying, is, I think, before you graduate, I think you need to apply, to lots of jobs, job applications basically during SWOT fac. Then after that, after the last day of your exam, the day tomorrow, that's the first day of your job. That's your first graduate position job basically. Now that's how I see it. That's the ideal path that I would see this going. It's about starting early. It's about acquiring your skills early. It's about being ahead of the herd. Now why do I say this? Because you are living now, we are living in a pandemic. We are living in a world that is super dynamic, that if you are not competitive, you will lose. Now that's the brutal reality that I need to convey to everybody in the room today. That's the brutal reality. If you're not competitive, you'll be kicked out, you'll be left out, and you'll be gone. Now, I might be very straightforward and I might be very, very harsh on some people, but this is, something that we need to realize. This is something that we need to understand, that we are moving in a market, in a competitive market. We are moving in a market, in a space where everybody is actually looking for something. Acquiring your skills early, knowing what you want to do, balancing out your life, that will help you significantly into making your decisions, focusing on the right things, and basically excel in the outside world. Yeah, I'm apologize if I take too much of your time, but hopefully, some of my experience and a bit of insight to basically, to make every one of us realize this also acts as a reminder for me, basically. And yeah, hopefully this helps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edward. Yep. And don't worry for taking too much of our time. We're here really to look for insights about a lot of these kinds of things, right, Kate? And actually, Darren would have to leave because of his squash training in a bit, and he sent us a LinkedIn account for any of you who want to maybe connect, and also for the free book, you can send him a connection earlier. And thank you, Edward, for your presentation. It's really insightful. And for all of us, even if you don't have experience maybe to start, you would also, you don't have to be afraid to take the steps even without experience, because you can really shock your employers with your high drive and a lot of determination, and also good work ethic, actually. And Kate, do we have a question in the chat box?
Yeah, I think someone asked Edward. So Alvin is asking, hi, Edward, can I ask how you look for your first job in Melbourne? Was it through LinkedIn, through friend, or something else? Could you please be so kind to answer on this question for us?
Yep. So that's okay. That's Alvin. Thanks, Alvin, for the question. That's a very good question. Actually, I got very lucky, to be honest, and I actually shared this to everybody. Is that when I first landed in Melbourne, it was February 2018, and it was the days when when I just got settled down into Monash, basically, just exploring the city, yada yada yada. I didn't do anything else. I just had fun basically in the first month. But then, my friends were saying, oh, it's quite challenging to get a job in Melbourne. It's quite challenging to penetrate the job market. And I was thinking, okay, then what do you use to apply for a job? because I didn't know anything back then. I didn't know about Indeed. I didn't know about Seek. I didn't know about Jura. I barely used LinkedIn. So, you know, I'm completely blind at that moment. But then when I actually started to explore a bit more, you know, around this, you know, job sites, Indeed, Seek, and all this sort of stuff, and then I started to make, you know, I started to build my resume, and then I actually applied. So it was a day in the library when I applied for, I think, 12 to 15 jobs. I did apply for 12 to 15 jobs. Interestingly, that was Thursday. That was Thursday. I applied for a job on Thursday. On Friday, 12 p.m., you know, 12:30 p.m., I got a call from a company. They wanted to interview me on Monday. Okay, then I said, okay, that's good. So that's my first interview in Melbourne. That was in Caulfield. I actually, it was very close. It was very near to uni. And then that was literally my first interview in Melbourne. I had no idea how interview works, basically. And then I was just talking to the employer, you know, just talking around my skill sets, talking around what I've been doing in the past, yada yada yada. And then interestingly, like, I was offered the position right on my face at that moment in time. He didn't even think about, you know, oh, you know, let me get back to you. You know, I've got a 3 weeks hiring process. He didn't say that. He just, you know, he just stood up from his seat and just held out his hand, and, you know, you're offered the job, basically. And then I started on Tuesday. So that was I would say that's something very fortunate, and I was super lucky to be able to get that, because it was actually the easiest interview and the quickest, you know, hiring process I've ever been in my entire life. So that's how I landed my first job.
I see.
I think you were very lucky, to be honest. It
I
takes
think so too.
it takes up to 6 months, a year for some people. As I personally know, it's kind of people who had to wait for a long time, and you just had to wait like a day or so for them to actually call you and to ask you for interview. This is amazing. You're lucky, man.
Yeah, pretty thankful for that.
Yeah, actually, Anna has also a question in the chat, even though Ashley's already answered it. Maybe Ashley, if you may, can also share with us about what Anna was asking. She asked, how did you find your internship? Did you Did you find yourself working another job to support yourself in the meantime? I know you've already answered it in the chat, but maybe a little bit of a wrap.
Sure. Okay. So what Anna asked was how I found my internship. So for the internship role that eventually offered me the full-time job, I heard of it from a friend who was already interning there. So I asked her to ask her CEO if they were hiring interns. So it was kind of like a cold call in that sense. There weren't job listings out there, but I wanted to work in the company because it sounded fun, and I thought that their use of tech was very interesting. So I offered my experience as well. And I said, like, these are some things I can do. I want to support you in this way. So that was how I found that job. But for the other internships that I did, I really went on job websites. At the time, I didn't look at LinkedIn for internship positions, but I went on like pedestrian jobs. I think that's what it's called. And I went on Indeed, and I just sent out resumes to these jobs that I felt were suited for the things I could do. And I didn't get a response for a very long time, for months. You know, I didn't get a response. I think at the time I didn't have much on my CV as well. But you know, once some responses start coming in, even if it's a no, it was kind of like a nod to, you know, hey, people are looking at your CVs and not just like throwing it in the trash. So that's how I got my momentum when I started. Yeah.
Right, I see. This one's your experience is the one with the long waiting one, not like Edward.
Yeah, definitely the long waiting one. Yeah. So I mean, I think everyone's journey is different, and on everyone's journey, there are going to be different lessons as well. So
Yeah, and I also think you
yeah.
have to keep adjusting your resume.
Correct.
Because sometimes
correct.
you don't even know what's wrong with it, and if
Yeah.
you don't get any responses for like a month or two, you
Yeah.
definitely need to just add something else. And there are lots of like YouTube videos and stuff, free stuff that you can use to learn more about the perfect resume.
A tip I have with regards to like interviewing and sending out CVs is really like, say for example, for me, I'm very nervous about the interview stage. I feel like, you know, I can go in super prepared, but when I see the person face to face, I just forget everything I want to say, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You know. So what I tried to do was really send out resumes to as many jobs as possible. Like even if I wasn't that interested, you know, I gave myself the opportunity to practice interviewing. So and like, say for example, if the interviewer asked me like, okay, this resume, you have great, like you wrote something great here, but I want more details on this section A. So I made a mental note to like, okay, when I want to update my resume, then I add more information to section A, because I'm getting all this feedback from different hiring people to tell me like, okay, this is where my resume can be improved. So I think it's really a learning, like you really learn along the way, I feel, and there's no I don't think there's a right or wrong answer in terms of this. You know, every company is different and everybody's different. Our experience is different.
And I feel you, Ashley. If you really think about one interview, it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
if you go in and relax and just go with the flow, it's a lot better.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for interviewing stuff, for tips on interviews, you can also refer to ISE and contact James for a lot of the Career Connect.
Career Connect is
advices.
amazing. Yeah. Career Connect is amazing. It really helped me when I was at Monash, and they really put in effort in like reviewing, you know, the resumes you send in, and like, say for example, I told them like, oh, I really want to beef up my skills in this area, and then they actually give practical recommendations to say like, okay, you know, you can take this course, or maybe at work you can suggest to your manager like, hey, I want to take on this project and stuff like that. Actually, like practical tips on like what to do. So I think it was really quite helpful for me. Make use of the resources while you're there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and I also
it's
have
all
a bit
there.
of advice. So if interview didn't go well, you can always ask for a feedback from the employer or whoever was assessing you. So you can always ask like, could you just please provide me a quick feedback about what was good, what you didn't like and stuff, so I could improve myself, my resume, and I could get a job later in the future and stuff. Yeah,
that's
just
right.
use your chances and don't be afraid to speak for yourself and ask for feedback constantly.
Yeah. I think really as international students, like we already took such a big risk leaving our country, like leaving our home country and putting ourselves in that period of discomfort. Like for me, it was definitely uncomfortable, you know, and oftentimes, especially when I was in my final year, and I felt like, oh, maybe this job won't hire me, or like I'm such a loser, like maybe I shouldn't go for this interview. Then I think to myself like, well, I already got on a plane and packed everything and I came here, you know, might as well just go for the interview and like just try my best. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, you know, I try to make the best of like the situations that we're in.
You really don't have to be afraid of anything. Just be confident.
Yeah, I really took such a big risk, you know, I'm already here, might as well.
That's super great. Okay, is there any other questions for any of the attendees here? If there is not, maybe we can really wrap it up here. It's very insightful night, and this is also the last alumni night from MUISS, which this year, which is Education, Economics and Business faculty. And this has been a very good night. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Ashley, for tonight. Thank you, James, from the ISE, who's given us a lot of insight for how to be a better person in Monash. And yeah, I think that is all from us. Thank you guys for joining tonight.
and have a
Thank
good
you.
night
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Great
Thank you,
stuff.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
See ya.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Good luck.
Okay.